In this university thrive the arts of peace, the skills and knowledge which are the heart of peaceful, fruitful civilization. Because universities strive to make men intellectually free, they have always been the natural enemies of tyrants. And in the universities of this country has been forged our most potent weapon, our spiritual armament, the ideas which are today the principal strength of free men. In these quiet halls are the elements of overwhelming strength. Here is the training ground for those who will man the powerful machine that is the 20th century democratic civilization. The doctors, the nurses, the engineers, the lawyers and legislators and executives, welfare workers, farmers, businessmen, and miners. Here, young people prepare for participation in democracy, study democracy, live democracy. Here are the blueprints and the case histories, records of success and failure in the centuries-old struggle to establish freedom of thought, freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom from fear and from want. Today, in this University of California, hundreds are fighting quietly a deadly battle against the enemies of a better world. Fighting in laboratories, libraries, hospitals, and fields. Their tools are books, maps, and slide rules, microscopes, test tubes, calculating machines, charts, transits, X-rays, and atom smashers. What we have and are today, we owe in a large measure to the tireless study, research, and experiment of thousands who have sought and are seeking the means of a happier and more fruitful life for all men. When a human being is confronted with sudden, imminent danger, the body automatically responds to meet the emergency. The muscles tense. The nervous system goes on the alert. The heart beats faster. So the tempo of university life is vastly speeded up when war comes. Total war mobilizes not only men and farms and industries, but it mobilizes every kind of skill and resource and War is fought by men. It is won by physically tough, alert, resourceful men, men ready to meet any emergency. Can physical toughness and resourcefulness be taught in a university? Here are some of the answers. Obstacle courses that will fit a man to climb among the trees or scale a wall. Hand-to-hand combat, Japanese style. Judo as practiced by the men of the West. An armed man can be disarmed and overcome by the competent judo expert. The Japanese enemy can be beaten at his own game. Boxing, the truly American method of defense and offense, is not being neglected. The training of men for the armed forces by the University of California was begun many years ago with the establishment of the Reserve Officers Training Corps. Now, university training techniques are speeded up and are adapted to 100 new problems of combat. Study of military problems in the classroom and in the field is a part of the intensified program. Training infantrymen, the art of parry and thrust as applied to the bayonet. Instruction in defensive warfare. The foxhole was first heard of on the battleground of Bataan. These men are learning how to seek cover in an attack, and also the best ways of carrying their injured companions to safety. Students in the Signal Corps are learning field communications. The walkie-talkie keeps them in constant touch with their commands. Crews are trained to man the countless anti-aircraft guns that are protecting our people, both here and abroad. Army engineers teach the construction of emergency bridges over streams and ravines. Bridges of this kind have already proved useful in the rugged mountains and jungle sectors of this global front. Generations of naval cadets have learned the fundamentals of navigation on this dummy ship's bridge. Shooting the sun, pinpoint navigation is important where tiny island fortresses play such a vital part in war strategy. Explaining the anatomy of the tin fish. On this miniature ocean, opposing fleets are maneuvered and tactical problems explained to these junior officers. War is fought on water, under water, over water. Here, men are getting ready to abandon ship in the manner that will afford the greatest safety. How to swim in water that is covered with burning oil. Here is how clothes can be turned into life preservers. Wet garments filled with air are buoyant enough to hold a man above water. Blowing into the shirt will often make it possible to keep afloat until help comes. How to swim safely in shark-infested waters. How to swim and keep your powder dry. The miraculous rubber raft. A pull on the handle over the side, it inflates itself and is ready to go. It is complete with oars, emergency rations, fishing tackle, and other necessities. Should hostile planes appear overhead, just flip the raft over and get underneath. There is air enough underneath to last until the plane has passed. These rafts already have saved the lives of many of our men who've been forced into the sea. Some believe the miscalculations of Japanese meteorologists helped to account for their disastrous defeat in the Bismarck Sea. When these students complete their training as meteorologists, they can be depended upon. Every art and science is a weapon in this war. Here, art and engineering are being used to conceal a factory building. Men who are well trained in the methods of camouflage will make our industrial plants less vulnerable from the air. Officers receive instruction in Oriental languages. To assist these men in acquiring the proper pronunciation, records are made by the most competent instructors. Health, one of our most potent weapons. In war or in peace, our lives literally depend upon the adequate training of these guardians of our health. The Medical Center of the University of California trains doctors and nurses. The low death rate among the American wounded is ample testimony to the effectiveness of well-trained medical personnel. Student doctors study field sanitation as applied to military problems. The mosquito problem must be controlled in the vicinity of military establishments. In this chamber, students in the Air Force rise miles into the Earth's outer atmosphere without leaving the ground, studying the effects of high altitudes in a pressure-controlled chamber. This is a part of a new branch of medicine, aviation medicine. Nurses. The nation today owes a debt to this university, which for long years has been supplying well-trained, competent nurses. The training of these young women has been greatly speeded up to meet the needs of total war, emphasis being placed upon that part of their training which bears directly on the casualties of war. Many of the graduates of the University of California School of Nursing are now serving with the armed forces. The University of California College of Agriculture at Davis has long been a center of agricultural training and research. In previous decades, it has made many contributions to California's most important occupation, food production. The accumulated results of years of agricultural research are in themselves a contribution to today's all-out war effort. Today, the Davis campus has been occupied by friendly troops. The college buildings have new names and new uses. Here is a training school for the Signal Corps of the United States Army. Agricultural research, so important today, converts them fully to strength for total war. Peacetime arts, industries, crafts, and occupations are turned to the uses of combat. Thus, most of the essential arts and skills which are the concern of a university in peacetime are doubly important for the prosecution of total war. We are seeking a way to grow this valuable sea product in accessible places along the California coast. Hunting. Ceaseless hunting for answers to the questions that will bring victory. Hunting for more effective listening devices. Hunting for a solution to the problem of influenza, the destroyer that has taken more lives than bombs and bullets. Hunting for effective treatments for tropical diseases. Much of the work going on behind these closed doors must remain a secret for the present. All we can say now is good hunting. Thus, the university goes to war. With the same tools it uses to serve in peace, the university serves also in war and will serve in reconstruction. Continues at Davis. Here, scientists work at the most basic of all war tasks, improving and augmenting our agricultural output, studying the flavor and shipping qualities of different varieties of peaches and nectarines, combating the pests that continually menace our fruit supply, new disease and insect-resistant wheat, more and better wool, the quantity and quality of all dairy products is being materially increased by teaching the feeding of dairy animals based upon individual cow production and by testing cows for milk and butter fat production. Through research and extension teaching of better feeding, proper livestock management, disease and parasite control, and scientific breeding, larger amounts of pork and beef are being produced for the armed forces and for civilian consumption. Food is a weapon of war and will be an even greater weapon in the reconstruction of an exhausted world. county farm advisors are playing a vital part in the Agricultural Extension Service campaign to teach techniques to farm groups, which will mean greater increase in production for every acre. The Agricultural Engineering Department has perfected many labor-saving devices that are serving well today, such as this baled hay loader. This sugar beet harvester saves the work of many hands. Tree shaker, an ideal hired hand in the fruit season. To meet a critical shortage of farm labor, Congress has given the Agricultural Extension Service of the University of California responsibility for the recruiting and placing of labor for the harvesting of California's crops. Statewide appeals are being made to men and women from towns and cities, students of schools and colleges, asking them to supplement regular farm labor in saving California's harvest. Thousands of volunteers from all walks of life have helped in harvesting and saving California's food crops. Now that shipping space is at a premium, the University of California is conducting research to perfect methods of dehydration. A large part of all food is water. Today, there is no room in our packed convoys for superfluous cargo. So, university scientists have found ways of removing water content. In this little compressed cube are all the nutritive elements contained in the large and bulky bunch of carrots. As a part of an organized campaign to encourage the planting of victory gardens and raising chickens in the vacant lots and backyards of the city, specialists from the College of Agriculture address groups, pass out printed matter, and demonstrate methods. This couple is losing no time in responding to the appeal for backyard gardens. The university has designed small poultry houses, which are being extensively used in the city. Newly laid eggs and fresh vegetables from one's own backyard help save the ration coupons. Home demonstration agents are doing much to assist in the battle to obtain more food. Here, nutrition specialists are explaining food preservation methods. The pressure cooker, correctly used, is the absolutely safe method for canning non-acid foods. One of the many models of home dehydrators, where fruit and vegetables may be dehydrated by heat from your own oven. Probing into the elements that make food food, vitamins. Vitamins are one reason why spinach is a better food than cement. These rats are both the same age. The difference in size and weight is due entirely to the vitamin content in the food given them. Everything we know about vitamins, everything we can find out, will be of the utmost value in this total war. Through its affiliation with the United States Armed Forces Institute, the University of California sends correspondence courses to American soldiers all over the world. Every week, thousands of completed lessons are received from Africa and Alaska, London, China, New Guinea and Australia, Guadalcanal, Naples, Kwajalein. Thus, the American soldier has the opportunity to continue his education even within the shadow of the guns, and to bridge the gap between yesterday's world and tomorrow's better world for which he is fighting. At the request of the United States Office of Education, the University of California accepted the responsibility for the upgrading and general training of men and women for certain technical positions in key war industries. Thousands of women are being trained in subjects that will fit them to take positions that were formerly held by men. More than 75,000 men and women have received training in hundreds of courses concerned with engineering, industrial science, radio, geometry of shipbuilding, and other occupations which require a background of knowledge on the collegiate level. This training program is known as Engineering, Science, and Management War Training. The University of California is one of the leaders in this type of training work. Naval cadets are given special training in the operation and upkeep of diesel motors. In the race to build faster, higher-flying, harder-hitting, better-manned air fleets, the university is playing its important part. The great demand for nurses has made it necessary to train a large number of young women to act as nurses' aides. To help relieve the shortage of graduate nurses on the home front, these young women are given elementary instruction in the care of the sick. The University of California receives almost every available pamphlet, magazine article, or government document relating to the war. The Bureau of Public Administration has classified for use by students, faculty, and government officials more than 50,000 items on war subjects. Its own extensive bibliographies and studies make constant contributions to the understanding and solution of war problems. Added to the organized war efforts of the university are the activities of the students themselves. Under the direction of the Students' War Board, successful bond-selling campaigns are carried out. Students at the university infirmary awaiting their turn to donate their pint of blood to the blood bank. Carrying on a campaign to enlist much-needed farm help. Every afternoon, young women give their time to making bandages. This war is fought with brains, with formulas and calculations, with arcs and angles and stress patterns. A good part of the technique of combat is learned in the classrooms, where mathematics, physics, astronomy, and engineering are taught. Testing materials for government construction. Making and testing lightweight concrete mixtures to be used in the building of cargo ships. Ship fouling is an especially vital problem in this war because of our long lines of communication. A flying boat floating for a week in tropical waters will accumulate as much as 400 pounds of marine growth. This added weight increases fuel consumption and cuts efficiency. University of California scientists are now working on this problem. Agar, a little-known substance of many uses in medicine and biology, is derived from a seaweed taken along the coast of Japan. Now, university scientists, war in the history books is an episode. In the civilization of which the university is custodian, war is also an episode, an end of many things, the beginning of new hopes, new aspirations. Just as nature, while never departing from principle, brings forth some inner strength not only to overcome obstructions, but to prove in so doing how much greater things are possible, so the university. War comes. She sends soldiers to physical combat, but her inner strength is redoubled, and those who work in her halls are also soldiers. Someday the fruit of this army's labor can be poured out for the good of mankind. The vast energies generated by this conflict can be turned to the creation of a new peace, dynamic and creative. Thus to prove that even this war, horrible and devastating though it is, has been an opportunity for progress, a stepping stone to a better way of life. To this task, the university is dedicated. That this nation, under God, shall have a new birth of freedom, and that government of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from the earth.